we need to talk about the state of gaming, because we as parents need to understand why certain things are happening, why certain mechanics and certain corporations are targeting our kids in certain ways. If we don't understand why these things are happening, then how are we supposed to parent them? And this gets back to a couple of different things. Corporations are designed to go after profits because they have to pay back shareholders. With that, we have to be careful in how we allow certain games into our environments, into our homes, right? Because we have certain companies that are looking to make a profit via video games, and we have other games or other companies that are looking to make good games for people. And we need to be able to differentiate these two when it comes into our home, because they target our kids in different ways. We want to have different, okay, for example, what we have is we have games like Fortnite, which have very high dopamine cycles. You have Modern Warfare and Warzone and Madden and FIFA. A couple other games all do something very similar, right? They have loot boxes, or they have microtransactions, they have heavy monetization, they have season passes, they have FOMO. It's weaponized FOMO, right? Like PlayStation just said they're going to release a whole bunch of games on Steam that have sequels so that we get hooked on the story and then have to go buy a PlayStation 5 to finish the story. That's weaponized FOMO. And I really don't think that that's an appropriate way for companies to be behaving, especially towards kids. And what can we do about it? Well, we can just not play those games. And that sucks because, again, they're using FOMO, or fear of missing out, to try and get our kids to play because other kids are playing. I just ran into this with my oldest son on a football team. All of his friends were playing Fortnite, Roblox, Fortnite, Minecraft, whatever. My kids play Minecraft. They play Minecraft on a server that I control or on friend servers that I know well, because I want to know how that environment is being parented. If somebody is parenting their kids different than mine, then I have a conversation, usually very benign, of just like, hey, how would you handle the situation, just to see how different our parenting styles are and how much we do or don't want to align what we do. And usually when I talk about video games with other parents, they go, hey, you know a lot about this. Why do you know so much? Well, that's because this is just a different aspect of gaming, or a different aspect of parenting. I'm a gamer, I'm a parent, and I can see where these roads are intersecting, and this is a huge gap for a lot of folks. And I want to help people with that, and that's why this entire channel exists. Admittedly, I could probably package this a lot better so everybody understands what I'm trying to get at a little bit better, but that doesn't matter for the context of this video. What does matter for this video is the fact that we need to understand that certain games are going to try and monetize over time. So Halo Infinite, right? There's microtransactions. It's a free-to-play multiplayer game. You have to pay for the campaign. And the multiplayer game is all microtransaction driven. In fact, they took away one of the core features of Halo multiplayer, which is customization of your Spartan or your Elite for monetization and packs. And it's $22 per skin. That's insane. 3 of those and I get a AAA game. One of those and I get like a AA game made by an indie dev that's putting more heart and soul into this than most of the publishers are allowing the AAA devs to do. And I know that's harsh, but the games are being designed around the monetization model first at AAA studios, and then the game itself. And what do I mean by that? Well, Halo Infinite was designed around a season pass so that they could monetize it and then make more money for profits. Microsoft demands profits. 343 has to make profits in order to make Microsoft happy. When it comes to EA, Apex Legends was made to make profits so that they could work on other projects, and it's incredibly successful, and they're not able to really pivot away from that, which sucks because they make one of my favorite games, which is Titanfall and Titanfall 2. That series is amazing. They can't get back to it because Apex is so good. It really frustrates me because those were games that people loved to make. And now we have games that people are making because publishers want to make money. Now, if you look out at other studios, right, so there's Pirate Software, guy named Thor, goes by the name Thor, makes a couple different games. Heartbound is one of his. I've yet to play it, but all the reviews are fantastic. But he has an amazing philosophy on how to design and develop games, and I agree with it a lot. I don't even know if he's a parent. He runs a ferret rescue. Like, that might be his parenting thing, right? But it makes more sense when that's happening. Like, he just loves games, so he's making games. But if you look at, say, Nintendo, right? There's some games that you're like, man, they really love games. So I'm looking at, like, The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and looking at Tears of the Kingdom. Those are games where there's just like, yo, we love games, and we're going to make a really good game. And then you look at Game Freak's Pokemon. It's been 25 years, 26. It's been an insane amount of time for Pokemon. And, like, Scarlet and Violet came out to bad reception. And I played both games, right? And I'm not a huge, like, into Pokemon all the time. My kids are getting me back into Pokemon. But the original games, I just remember being like, this is a lot of fun. And Scarlet and Violet just were broken. Like, the games were just broken. And they were able to fix them through some patches, but that's neither here nor there, right? Like, they didn't fix it all the way. They didn't release a good game. They released a broken game because they knew that it would just sell. So they made the minimum required product for us to buy. And you see this all the time. Madden 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, all just copy pasted over everything. I mean, you could go in Madden 20 and there's Madden 19 signage all over the game. And this continues into Madden 23. Like, this is ridiculous. So they're not spending a ton of time on these games. They're not spending a ton of resources. They're weaponizing fear of missing out, all to make more money for the AAA games. So what should we do as parents, right? Like, that's the main question, is what should we do as parents about this? Should we just ban AAA games? Should we not allow gaming into what we have as our home and our free time? Well, no, I'm not saying that, right? But I'm saying that there needs to be active parenting with especially AAA games, because the monetization is so aggressive and it's so in your face and it's so fear of missing out. And the way that they have matchmaking and the way that they have other things, it's very, what's it called? Engagement optimized matchmaking. That's terrible. Like, that's just mean. But there's other games out there that are fantastic. And when I started looking at a couple different things, right? I'm making a video on the consoles and which console should you get as a parent. And I was looking at the Nintendo Switch, I was looking at PlayStation 5, I was looking at Xbox Series X and S, right? And for this generation, 9th generation, I was like, man, the Series S is really what most people need if they want most of the AAA games. But the Nintendo Switch is probably the most family friendly. PlayStation 5 is just a robust piece of hardware. But the games really aren't plentiful, and they're really not designed well, and they're really aggressively monetized for a lot of it. The Switch is kind of on the fence there. Like, I will give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt on this one, because a lot of the games aren't monetized super heavily. Some of them are, but not all of them. And I just... I honestly don't think I can recommend the Series S or X or the PlayStation 5 because it's kind of a lackluster generation. I mean, you look at the Series X and it's got ads all over the menu. The PlayStation 5 has it too, but, like, it's just not fun. I'm getting sold more stuff after I bought a $500 console, or $300 or $400, whatever price point you end up buying one of these two machines, between $300 and $500. It's ridiculous. They just continue to push more ads, and it's not about the gaming, right? PlayStation and Xbox are not about the gaming anymore. It's about the monetization, how much profit they can make. And I think that that is a terrible precedent to set, because I think what we need is for them to come back and be like, we have to make great games first. And I really hoped that Microsoft acquisition, that's a tough word to say, of Activision and Blizzard would bring more games, more great games to Xbox in a quicker, faster manner. It looks like that was just misplaced. That trust was absolutely destroyed. I was really hoping, because they have Game Pass and they really want to get games to consumers quicker and easier through their subscription service. And I was like, you know what, that's a really good value. Looking at it, I like a lot of the games. I've actually played a few because I want to review them and start suggesting cheaper ways to get easy, fun games into families' hands. And Game Pass, for the most part, fulfills that. But not the AAA games. The AAA games are trash, and there's nothing I can't recommend those. And I can't really recommend the newest generation because they're so expensive. Yes, they load faster, but they require, every time I've tried to boot them up in offline mode, I can't play a game because I have to go validate that I have the requirement for that. I got the disc. I put the disc in the machine, and I still have to go online to validate that I can play the game. Oh, you need a patch for this. It's like 60 gigs. I paid for really fast internet, and it still takes me 20, 30 minutes to patch my games, even though I just want to play single player campaign. Why do I have to patch the game? There's nothing that makes me feel good about this generation right now. There's stuff that makes me feel really good about gaming. Just most of it's on the PC and older generations. So what am I getting at? 1, we need active parenting. 2, we don't have to have the newest and greatest hardware. 3, we just need to be kind of judicious with how we spend our money on gaming, because some of the older games are gems or indie developers or other things, right? The game that I've sunk the most time into this year has been Hades, and Hades 2 just hit early access. I'm really excited to see that. Elden Ring is a really fun game, and yes, that's a AAA game, but it's done really well. Baldur's Gate 3, AAA game, but it's incredibly well made by people that love gaming. So I don't have a problem recommending that, but it's not for kids. When I look at games for kids, I'm looking at, for the most part, things like Pokemon or Mario Kart or Paw Patrol or not Bluey, that game's terrible. Yeah, there's not a lot that I feel comfortable suggesting kids get into. I don't recommend Roblox for a variety of reasons that I'll probably have to put into a video. I don't recommend Minecraft Bedrock because of the monetization of it. I do, however, recommend Minecraft Java, but you have to have that on a PC. Now, that being said, it's 15 years old and I can run it on some really potato PCs, so that's not a problem for a lot of people. I don't recommend Fortnite for most kids because of the monetization, and that's not even getting into the fact that it's violent. So some parents may or may not like the violence or be okay with it because it's very cartoonish. I can't recommend Warzone because it's extremely violent and the lobbies are pretty trolly. I can't recommend any of the sports games for little kids unless you're sitting there with them, because it always has splash screens of, hey, come buy this pack, come do this ultimate team, come spend more money on a game mode that really is kind of trash, but it's built around a dopamine cycle so that you always want to come back to it because it gives you reward, this feeling of reward of, oh, I got this really cool player this one time, I wonder if I can get another really cool player on this really low chance thing, right? I want to be that guy that gets a low chance reward. And that's really what it comes down to. So I need to recommend more games that are family friendly, that are little kid friendly. I need to basically go back through and redo this entire, wow, I've been talking a long time. I need to go back through and redo this entire, which console should you choose, or should you do PC? I'm leaning towards PC, but I know not everybody can do that. So we'll see what's going on. It might take me some time. I'm working through a lot of stuff in my personal life, and this is simply a hobby, but I do want to help other parents. So please bear with me. If there's something that you really need a review of, let me know, and I'll do my best to at least get a little snippet out there, even if it's just a short or something like that. So yeah, this is Wes. Do good, play hard, game on, and I'll see you next time.